So when you have a podcast, basically what we're doing with search engine optimization is making sure that it's valuable in the eyes of Google and your ideal audience. Because
You're listening to the Academy podcast, the podcast for people who can but don't know how. This is where you get actionable steps to turn vague dreams into blissful realities. And I'm your host, Omoshala Victoria Wolabi. So let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Academy podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a topic that still scares me a little bit. One thing about entrepreneurship when you decide to jump into that phase of life is you don't know you're signing up to go to school again. You just think, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. I just want to make money. I want to help people. But there's a lot of things you need to learn. And one of the things that I found most scary I'm learning is SEO, search engine optimization. And that's why I have a very special guest today, Jennifer Yan. Jennifer Yan is an expert when it comes to SEO. She's an online marketer that helps business owners 100x their business growth through the use of search engines, influencers, and media. She has done marketing research for major technology companies in Silicon Valley. Her focus is on strategic marketing to create the most effective growth for a business in a shorter amount of time. Thank you, Jennifer. Welcome to the show.
thank you so much, Victoria. It was great talking to you, and I would love to share more about SEO and kind of demystify what it actually is.
Yeah. But before we get into that, Jennifer, I know I just read your amazing bio. I see what you do. In your own words, who is Jennifer? Tell us a bit about you.
Jennifer is a former software engineer that was always kind of nerdy and a little bit introverted, but always had that creative side to her and always had that grit and that hustle. And that's what kind of pushed her to become an entrepreneur.
Right. And how has your entrepreneurial journey been for someone who's introverted? And I know most software engineers are very introverted in nature. They just want to talk to the computer and not people. But when you're an
Yes.
entrepreneur, it's a bit different because now you have to go out there, you have to market yourself, you have to network with people. How has that been for you so far, given your nature of being an introvert?
Oh, yes, it's definitely interesting because, as you said, software engineer, all we are doing is talking to the computer all day. So, what I did was kind of create websites and create apps where we have a software product. But the thing is, when you're a business and all you have is a product or service, if your audience doesn't see the value of that in their lives or in their businesses, they don't take any action. And when you don't have any stream of incoming leads or sales leads, basically you have a product that maybe or service that just sits on the shelf, and your business will be in really big trouble if you don't find a way to connect to your target audience and find out what they actually need and how you actually solve their pain points.
Absolutely. So you literally do not have a choice. You have to get out there and actually network with people because what's the point of having a good product if nobody knows about it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So you are a software engineer, by trade and by education, right? And now you are the founder of SEO Symbiosis. How did that come about? What made you decide to go into SEO? Like, why did you make that leap?
I would say I started as a software engineer. So by doing that, I had a real sense of design of how to actually build a application and also make it scale to accompany a lot of users.
Right.
And during that process, I would say problem solving was like a major thing with software engineering. And the thing is, you're always getting thrown problems that you've never seen before. And that kind of led to kind of why I started getting that type of like mindset where there's new problems coming in all the time. And it kind of paved the way towards like being an entrepreneur. And the first thing you need to do as a business owner is find a way to market yourself,
Mhm.
or like basically you got to hit the ground running because you're limited on the time and money. So your resources are really tapped in.
Right.
And a lot of them, they don't have, it's very hard to get that know, like, and trust factor with your business, especially when you're brand new. And basically, I kind of work with SEO because it's, for one, it's free and it's very powerful. It's the only one of the few, like, it's like at a push of a button, you could access people all around the world any time of the day. So you get access to billions of people and they could become your sales leads. And that's one of the few things that internet actually has given to us, that actual power to reach so many people across the world.
Yeah, awesome. Now, when it comes to SEO, I don't know, for some reason that word SEO or those three-letter words scares me like to death. Like when I hear SEO, it just sounds really complex. So,
Yeah.
can you explain what SEO means in a really simple way for the non-techie, the person who has no tech background at all, to actually understand what is SEO and why do we need to have SEO as entrepreneurs?
Oh yeah, I'm so happy you asked that because SEO, I kind of Googled it the other day and like it was showing up to some K-pop website, like Korean pop like artists or something, but it's definitely not that I'm talking about right now. But SEO is like short for search engine optimization. And basically the reason I decided to go with that marketing field is because basically I was basically when you're a business owner, sometimes you have to have a product or service and on top of that do marketing. Is actually in my favor that all I do is marketing all day. So I my service is marketing and I'm marketing for myself, I'm marketing for my clients. And the reason that SEO is so powerful is because it's one of the very few online marketing methods where you could actually you get traction from the content that you create all
Right,
the time. So when you have a podcast, basically what we're doing with search engine optimization is making sure that it's valuable in the eyes of Google and your ideal audience. Because what we do is kind of like a simple way to explain SEO is basically we're using search engines to drive traffic to your website, and that traffic in turn becomes your clients. And kind of like Google has been the forefront of like kind of like being the portal into the entire internet because a lot of people, 90% of the buyer's journey is starting online. So that is one of the reasons we targeted SEO, and it's free and there's definitely a lot of power behind that type of marketing.
right. So, say for example, I'm just going to use my podcast as an example, right? So, this podcast is new. I really want to have a lot of people listen to it because I understand it is valuable, right?
Mhm.
How does SEO help me for someone like me who's just starting out and trying to get that visibility and exposure?
I'm glad you asked that question because SEO is such a huge space. But at the end of the day, Google is trying to answer one question. How valuable is this website in the eyes of your ideal audience?
Right.
Are they leaving really fast or are they not listening to all your episodes or they're trying to find out how valuable is it? So from a beginner standpoint, what I would recommend is think about your ideal audience and what are they searching online, the words that they're actually using.
Right.
So example would be like if you're a CPA, you would say someone in your ideal audience might type in the search bar, what is the best way to save taxes for let's say a small business?
Right.
And then you're adding keywords like that into your maybe your podcast show description
Hmm.
and you're capturing those keywords. And what you also want to do is kind of network with other high authority podcasters in your space, in which you could basically having your link, your website link or your podcast link onto their website or their podcast show notes will basically show in the eyes of Google that you're one of the popular kids because Google doesn't really know who you are,
Hmm.
but they know who you associate with. So you associate with someone like who's the top podcaster right now, like
Gary Vanderchuk.
Gary V. There you go.
Gary V is quite popular. Yeah.
You getting good with Gary V.
Yeah.
Google will see that and basically they use it as one of the factors to show that, oh, maybe we should put this person on page one and kind of find out that this since this person is associated with Gary Vee and Gary Vee has so much domain authority,
Right.
maybe she's like one of the popular kids as well. So that's kind of like the two things I would do. I would basically add the keywords that your audience is searching
Hmm.
and basically network with other high authority podcasters who kind of like boost your domain authority and gain traction and the visibility you need for your podcast.
Right. When you say network with other high authority people in your niche, obviously, and we're just using Gary Vee as an example, but I don't think my listeners are the kind of people that will listen to. I mean, we all listen to
Yeah.
Gary Vee. I love him to death, but I think he just curses a bit too much from my personal opinion. But he's an awesome guy. But let's say, for example, when you say network, so do I approach Gary Vee to maybe be a guest on his podcast? Or do I write like a guest post on his, podcast website or something like that? How does that networking work, and how does that then translate back into SEO and ranking your own show?
Oh, yeah. So when you basically, there's in SEO, there's this process called link building, which is you're usually going through like an email pitch and you're typing in exactly how exactly your website or your podcast, how does it add value to their audience on their high domain authority website or podcast.
Right.
And there's always good and bad ways to do this. The bad way is like, hey, can you put my link onto your website, and just say that and just be really like, just like go straight to the trash bin, right? No one
Yeah.
wants to be pitched at, and no one really likes that type of approach.
Yeah.
But when you come from a genuine place where you actually say, I really love your podcast, and then you kind of say exactly why it's a good fit and be very specific about that, it's a lot better approach. And then he would like basically, if you have a good pitch down and kind of like how you could actually help them and their audience,
Right.
then it's a lot better way to position yourself on like why they should add your website link onto their podcast show notes.
Right.
So for you as a podcaster, you could, maybe it's not like Gary Vee right off the bat,
Yeah.
because maybe there's like a way to slowly work up to Gary Vee.
Yeah.
But I would reach out to like slightly higher podcast shows that have a little bit higher authority. Maybe they're in the middle, they're not on the very top, but they're in the middle.
Right.
And when you're on their show, usually they will say like, sometimes they'll say, how can people reach out to you? And basically they'll have show notes, and sometimes they'll add their website link onto there. And that's kind of like how it actually influences SEO. And about the latest statistic I saw was like 2 million podcasts are indexed on Google right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a huge amount of podcasts
Mhm.
being indexed by search engines as well.
Right, right. Awesome. I think I have a better understanding now of how the whole SEO thing works. Thank you for breaking that down. Another thing I was going to ask is, I'm just going to go back to your background as a software engineer, because SEO is exciting, right? But when you decided to, go into, SEO, link building, and just helping people get visible online, what were some of the key factors that triggered that decision to say, you know what, I'm just done being, a software engineer. I want to go into helping people get visibility.
I think when I did software engineering, I realized that you had to have a certain type of mindset that I felt like it was really great learning experience, but every single day a piece of code would break on me and it would crash the entire program, because when you write code as a software engineer, you're using multiple programming languages to create a website. So you might be using something like HTML to create the actual style of the website
Right,
or the content of a website.
right.
And there's another layer on top, like CSS, that will be used to style it. And when all these layers are stacked together, you break one piece of code on one piece of layer, it tends to like have a cascade effect on the other parts
Another
of your
part.
website. So it was like, and it, imagine you're working on a team and then they break something. You have to find out like where they broke it, and it actually like go through that entire spaghetti code
Right.
and figure out what actually broke. So I think I really learned a lot about problem solving, but I felt like it's very dry. Like coding is
Mm.
very technical, but during my time after I graduated my coding school, I found that I was trying to look for work, and in between the work, I did a lot of marketing research studies for like YouTube, Google, LinkedIn, Adobe, and basically I went in and I found that I had a real passion for giving advice on how to shape their product or services in a
Right.
way that kind of makes sense to people. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, you have to think about value, value, value. How does it actually help them? And I got really good at kind of like voicing out my opinions about how they like label things with their marketing, how the product actually looks. And basically, I started getting that type of marketing psychology.
Right.
And I really love psychology. And that's kind of like how I started like, with coding, it's all about computers.
Mm-hmm.
But then now with marketing, I started really liking like human psychology and what actually makes people buy.
So, you're a visionary with great ideas. You have lofty goals and big dreams, but you just don't know how to communicate your value to get people behind the vision that you see in your head. This is where the Winning Conversations for Leaders course comes in. I have passionately created a course that can help you communicate better, connect authentically, and persuade people easily to get behind your vision and make your dreams a reality. So go check out our courses at icandemy.teachable.com. Awesome. That's awesome. And what has been your biggest challenge so far? I know every niche has its own unique challenges. So obviously you've gotten away from the coding. What has been some of the biggest challenges now with, getting people to understand the value of SEO and breaking it down in a way that's simple for them to understand? What has been some of the challenges that you've encountered in doing that?
Oh yes, there's with SEO. For one thing, it's very complicated. Like there could be up to at the end of the day, like Google just cares about how valuable the website is to their visitors. But there's 200 minor like ranking factors underneath that. So for one, it's really could be really complicated. And for number two, what I struggle with SEO and marketing SEO to potential clients is that they kind of like they're asking like how long does it take to get on page one of Google?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a number I made up. When you look on Google's website, they said it could take up to 6 months to rank for your actual keywords.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to marketing, you really want to think about it's kind of like a giant tool set. You use a hammer for a very specific purpose. You use a drill for a very specific purpose. And the purpose of SEO is your goal is to kind of have long-term growth and kind of have create content that will be there forever and people will still be going into that content and discovering your products and services. That's when you go for SEO. It's a long-term thing that takes a lot of work to build up front. But then I feel like, once you create these, for example, you create keywords in your podcast episodes, people will continue to see your podcast like long before you posted it.
Right.
So that's when you actually use SEO. And it's very tricky to tell people that it could take up to 6 months to see results.
Right.
And recently, I started adding podcast booking services to kind of ignite SEO and kind of like there's nothing that could replace the human voice and knowing your story. Like imagine Martin Luther King, let's say he was on a blog article and you were just reading that. That's like the difference between just reading a blog article with SEO keywords and actually hearing his voice, his conviction, and all the other things that comes into his speech that you miss with just writing a blog article.
Right.
So that's kind of like what I've been adding to my company to make it stronger.
Right, that's amazing. And you are so right. And that was why I was blogging for the whole year last year. And the visibility I've gotten from when I switched to podcasting has been amazing because
Mhm.
there's nothing like people actually hearing your voice. There's something about the human voice that's so powerful that, draws people to you more than just words on a page. So yeah, that's actually so true. I'm just learning a lot from you. And that brings me to the next question for somebody who is a brand new entrepreneur, they're trying to get that visibility because being an entrepreneur is challenging. And like you said, it's a long-term game. It takes time to actually
Mhm.
build that credibility, to build that trust and that visibility that you need to succeed. What are five actionable things, like five things they can do like now to kind of get them on the way? Because we know it's a long-term game, but what are five things they can do today to get them on the road to getting that visibility online, to letting Google see that, oh, I actually have valuable content to share with the world?
That would be pretty good. 5. Let me think. I know one off the bat.
Yeah,
One of the actionable steps they should take is basically networking and
right.
building that layer of relationships. And basically, actually, Victoria and we both met through a women's founders community. And
Absolutely.
there's amazing community of female founders. And when you're an entrepreneur, working by yourself is really hard. Not only like are you kind of like isolated, but
Mhm.
you don't get access to like resources. You don't have accountability partners. And basically, I think networking is actually how I really got my foot in the door. I started talking to people,
Right.
and it didn't matter that I didn't have money or like I had some money, but it wasn't a lot.
Mm,
So I didn't really have money and knowledge to start off with. So what I did was I kind of found the people that could give me like I traded my skills
right.
to bargain with me not having as much money. So I had marketing skills, which is pretty lucky for me because a lot of business owners they could use marketing in their businesses.
Absolutely. We all need that. That's a valuable skill to have.
Oh yeah, so I kind of bartered a lot, and with knowledge, I kind of started networking with other entrepreneurs, and they cut my learning curve in half. And basically, all the mistakes they made, they were able to pass it on to me and tell me what to avoid to
Mm.
actually get faster on that curve. So, is that like how many actual steps is that? Maybe that's one.
So you've actually you've given us you've given us three. So number one is networking. Number two, if you don't have money, trade your skill. Find
Hmm.
something that the other entrepreneur needs that you can offer instead of money, right?
Hmm.
And then I think the third one would be, yeah, I think it's two so far. So number one, networking, get out there, talk to people about what you're doing. Number two, trade your skills. If you don't have the
Hmm.
money for advertising, for paid advertising, trade your skills, find someone who's a good marketer, and yeah, and you can also bring something to the table that you can barter and exchange with, right? Hey everybody, it's Amoshala here with a quick word from our sponsors. You see, when you decide to become an entrepreneur, one thing you do not realize you're signing up for is actually the amount of skills that you need to learn, especially if you're bootstrapping your business and trying to do a lot of things yourself. So things like building a website, social media marketing, photography, those are skills that you need when you are getting started as an entrepreneur. And that was what I was quick to realize when I started my business. But hey, Skillshare came to the rescue. With Skillshare, I was able to go there and take tutorials from people who have been exactly where I was, but are now experts in their field. So whether you're trying to build your website, trying to learn how to market your product on social media, or trying to improve on your communication and facilitation skills, Skillshare has got you. With Skillshare, you're able to learn new skills fast and effectively with step-by-step guided tutorials. And as a lovely listener, Skillshare has been kind enough to allow our listeners 2 months free of premium Skillshare. So to access 2 months free of premium Skillshare, click on the link below in the show notes. Let me ask you another one, if that would help. Like, so for somebody who is just starting out a business, oh, you've actually answered that. So number three is it's a long-term game. You have to be patient, right?
Hmm.
It's a long-term game. You have to be patient because it takes time to build these things. And what's
Yeah.
two
What
more you can give us?
I say, yeah, like the long term game, I've actually like it's actually about you falling like 10 or 1,000 times on your face before you actually get up and actually have a successful product or services. And
Right.
I think it's like really like dangerous to kind of hear all these like overnight like success stories of these businesses like WhatsApp
Mm-hmm.
being acquired by Facebook and all these major companies being looks like they're overnight successes, but then it's like what I think about is like they're kind of like taking you have kids, right, Victoria?
I
It's like
do.
taking care of a baby. Like when you have a business, there's a lot of time and nurturing that really goes on to there
Mm-hmm.
where it's like staying up all night because it's like you're stressed out about money coming to your business. It keeps you up at night like a baby would.
Yeah.
So basically, I say don't let your past failures, like maybe that could be number three. Don't let your past failures kind of like dictate what you could actually do in the future. And
Right.
one thing that people could never teach you, like that you have to have for yourself, is your self worth and your grit. And without that, like people could see when you don't believe in yourselves. When you try to go into a sales conversation and
Mhm.
you sound like you're questioning yourself all the time and you don't have that confidence,
Right.
they could sense that. And maybe you don't, it doesn't come out in your voice, but they could look at your body language and see that you're not confident. I think also like maybe number four is kind of like just kind of, yeah, having that you can't like give up. It's basically like having people to pull you up when you're falling down. So I actually had like a CPA to kind of make sure my numbers worked in my business, that actually made money instead of
Right.
losing a lot of money. And I also had an attorney, because one of the scariest thing as a business owner has to be like liability.
Mhm.
There's like you're never too sure about like how much money someone might come after you for.
Yeah.
So that stuff, I didn't try to DIY a legal contract. I just had a lawyer look at it, because I was actually surprised, because there's certain words that basically it means certain things in English. Like I can't like there's certain words in English that actually mean something else in legalese or legal terminology. And
Right.
I started realizing that when I work with a lawyer, and I was like, doesn't this mean this in English? But then there's that this has a very specific context in the courts and its consequences on your business. So I just had experts kind of deal with the numbers and the liability, which is like really important if you don't have those things in place.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So I'm just going to recap a little bit on the 5 steps. So number one is you need to go out there and network. Go out there, guys. Talk to people. That's the first step to succeeding at any business venture you're trying to start. Number two, find valuable skills that you can battle with, that you can trade off with somebody who needs it. Even if you don't have the money, that's fine. Number three, you need to be patient. It's a long-term game, right? You need to be
Mhm.
patient. Number four, you need to be consistent. You need to have the grit and the tenacity to hold on until you see the results that you're looking for. I was so guilty of this behavior because, I mean, everywhere you look online nowadays is one guru or the other telling you how you're going to become wealthy in 60 days, right?
Mhm.
And for me, I started believing all that. And when it didn't happen, I was disappointed. And that was why it took me so long to get back on track with my business, because I had to change my mindset around, those beliefs. Because building a business, like you said, is like a baby. It takes time.
Mhm.
You need to feed it, nurture it, and give it all it takes for it to thrive eventually, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, so it's having that grit and that tenacity to hold on when everything seems like, it's falling apart. And number five is do not DIY your legal, guys. Because, and I'm so guilty of this. Like I'll just Google a template, like,
Mhm.
I'll just Google a template. And it's so funny you say that, because one time when I used to work at a job, I actually said to a colleague of mine one day, I was like, "Oh, I have advised the client that this," and she was like, "Hold on, hold on, hold on. Do not use the word advise the client, because in legal terminology, that's you being an expert giving professional
Oh, yeah.
advice. Rather say, I have informed the client. That's you passing a
Mhm.
message. So you are so right that when it comes to legal terminology, English language and legal language, totally different.
Mhm.
So please, guys, do not DIY your legal. Pay for the services that you need. Jennifer got a CPA, she got a lawyer. It's just better to be safe than sorry.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I learned so much from you today, Jennifer. Thank you so much. And if people want to learn more from you or hire your services, right? Where do they find you? How can they get in touch with you?
Oh, yes. Right now, I'm actually offering a free SEO audit. So if you want to drive more traffic, gain more visibility for your website, and kind of start getting ranked on page one of Google, you could book a free consultation with me with a SEO audit. And the way to book this is you could go to my Calendly link. So https dash calendly.com
Mhm.
slash gen dash 90. And when you click on this link, basically it'll book an appointment with me where we could actually walk through what are some of the keywords that you could add to your website and some of the things that we actually optimize your website so that you're getting more and more visitors for your website. And when we build links and do keywords for your site, we do this every month. So it's a cumulative effect. And at a certain point, you're going to gain a lot of traction from all the keywords that we build. And when you have content, people are going to be visiting it for like years on end until like, the entire internet shuts down or something like that.
Which I don't see happening anytime soon.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And you also do have a website, right? People can check out what you do on your website, right?
Oh, yes. So my website is SEO symbiosis.
Right.
symbiosis.com. And if you have any questions, you could always connect with me on social media. So you could type in Jennifer Yan. My last name is spelled YAN,
Mm-hmm.
and then do SEO symbiosis because there's a lot of Jennifer Yans out there. And it'll pull up my LinkedIn, my Facebook, and we could definitely connect through there if your audience has any additional questions that I could answer.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on, sharing your expertise, your knowledge with us, non-techies who are scared of SEO. Now I'm more knowledgeable. Now I understand it's a good thing, right? It's not something to be afraid of. And if you don't understand, that's why people like Jennifer exist. They can help you with that. You can always delegate the part of your business that scares you to death to people
Oh,
like
yes.
Jennifer to take care of it for you. So I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for coming on the show, sharing your expertise, breaking SEO down, so that we have a better, clearer understanding of what it means.
Thank you so much, Victoria. And, I understand from your audience perspective how hard it is to actually get visibility for those websites. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And I look forward to connecting with your audience. And thank you so much for having me on your show.
Awesome. And I just want to say, if you have any questions for Jennifer, you can head onto our website at seosymbiosis.com, or just flick me an email at hello@icandemy.org, and I'll pass that on to Jennifer and see how best we can assist you with your questions. So once again, thank you, Jennifer, and for coming on the show, and do have a great, great week ahead of you. And we'll definitely be in contact and in connection with you.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too.
So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And for more content like this, follow us on our social media handles. On Facebook, it's at iCandemy, the Facebook page. On Instagram, it's at iCandemy. Or come say hello over on my personal page. On Instagram, it's at Omoshola Speaks. On Facebook, it's Victoria Wallaby. Feel free to reach out, introduce yourself, say hello. I love meeting you. And if you have any stories that you feel will inspire another woman to action, I want to hear from you. I really do. I love hearing from you. Send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. So it's hello@icandemy.org. And if you find this content valuable, please rate and review on iTunes. Leave a review. It matters to us so that people can find it. So rate, and review on iTunes, on Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to your podcast. Thank you.